don't just leave my daughter at home to be just a housewife and nothing more. Like
my daddy knew me. At the time too, we had the mindset where we were like, I won't get a job, so we are free to go and do what we want to do when we want to do it. But
we're together a lot.
Yeah, to the point where even my friends are like, when are you guys not together? Like, maybe borderline annoying.
And welcome to another episode of the
Mor Than Dough
Podcast. Here we go. Thanks for joining in. It's episode, you'll say it in the title, episode 4. Episode 3.
Three or 4.
So, we've been talking a lot about marriage, about business, mostly about our dating life. And the purpose of our podcast is, hey, we can keep you entertained. If we can inspire you, if you can learn something, we've done our job. This is our chance to be able to hang out. I guess our own therapy. You pay for a therapist or just come talk it out in front of the whole world. And our point is we've done a lot together in these 13 years.
We have. We have 9 businesses at this point together. We've got 4 crazy girls.
Under 8.
Well, 8 and under. And what else are we doing? We've been together for 13 years, married for 11.
Yeah.
And we're still going strong. Or are we?
We are. I don't know. Are we? No, we are.
Going strong. But we've definitely had our moments.
Yeah, like we're together a lot. Like we do business together, kids together. We're together a lot.
Yeah, to the point where even my friends are like, when are you guys not together? Like, maybe borderline annoying.
Yeah, we're in love. But also, I mean, it takes a lot too. So really, how did we get here? Like, how is it that you chose to do business? Like, really, you came from when we were dating. You're like, I hate money. I hate business.
Well, I hate what money does to people.
Yeah.
So I've never been super attached to money.
Your passion was physical body, health. Oh. Brought to you by Medical Medium Celery Juice. Hey, if you feel like you need to be able to get cleansed, go ahead and get you some celery juice. Just go ahead, get some organic celery, put it down the thing, juice it up, and it'll take all your problems away. Now, this is what we had today. So,
why?
Sponsored by
celery.
Celery.
We're mid detox right now.
Yeah, so part of that, your passion, right? Like we're doing a 9-day detox right now in the middle of it. And that was your passion. So, and I tried so hard.
Or that was the only thing I was really interested in was like the human body. So that's kind of what I went for.
And I tried so hard in a previous career that we'll talk about to try to get you to work together and do business with me. And, hey, you could be the secretary and take care of my jobs. I was doing solar, so I did door-to-door for 17 years. And there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of sectors, finding the customer, gaining the customer's trust, moving the job forward. And that moving the job forward, a lot of the back office stuff, it takes so much time. So if I could have had my handy-dandy wife be my business partner, all the problems would be solved and we'd sell. And she was like, no, not doing it.
I wasn't into it. It wasn't my thing.
I was like, but babe,
I'm not the secretary
I'm making the money.
type. I'm not the secretary type.
You're at home. But I do remember this. Maybe this was the seed that got implanted.
Okay.
So when I asked your dad to for your hand in marriage.
Yes.
And if he would approve, he took me in his car. So we were leaving Rexburg, Idaho, and he'd been there for a few days. And I'm like, I just didn't get the chance or didn't take the time or make the time to.
There you go.
Didn't make the time.
There you go.
To go and take him off because we're always all together and it was fun. And your brother and his girlfriend were there that ended up being his wife later on. But we were all together having a ton of fun. So anyway, last day, he's on his way to the airport. And I'm like, hey, Ed, can I drive with you? Yeah. He knows what was about to go down. Hey, Ed. And
because it was my graduation. So then, of course, everyone's like, well, what are your plans now? And I'm like, well, funny, you should ask. ...
So I asked him, I said, hey, I'm in love with your daughter and I want to marry her. And we want to plan on that, but I want to get your blessing and your permission. And if that's okay with you. He said, well, and he started talking and I loved it. I loved the talk. And one of the things he said is he knew that I did business and he knew that you were doing kinesiology at that time. You wanted to do physical therapy. Yeah. He said, well, you know what? Something to the effect of, you guys can work together and she can open up facilities like what do you call this? Physical health facilities. Mm-hmm. And that's part of business too. And what he was implanting was like, don't just leave my daughter at home to be just a housewife and nothing more. Like
my daddy knew me. It wasn't gonna happen.
He's like, he almost was like, he dropped it subtly, but like he was like, she can be able to run these facilities and you could also do business in that sector. And it was almost like this, like, hey, you guys are partners, so be partners. And be partners not just in what you want to do, but hey, what my daughter wants to do and allow her to develop.
Yeah.
And
took some time to get there.
Yeah. But it was enough of a subtle but he was like, hey, handle it.
And look what happened.
And that was part of the deal. That was part of the deal.
I didn't realize that.
Because he didn't say, it had to be that, but he threw it in there like, all right, you want to ask?
Yeah.
Well, these are some of my expectations. And it implanted enough in me that was principle number one. Build together with my eternal companion and not just on my own. And if you don't, it's not bad. It's just that was a core principle that I wanted. And so then I started to think, how can I and we together build around that common goal that we wanted?
But then physical therapy, I wasn't all about that ride anymore. So
yeah, you did the internship. You're like, you did your whole degree and then you did the internship and you're like, this is all ran by insurance. I just want to take care of people.
Yeah. So, but it's okay. It worked out well. And then, but our first actual technical business together was our French bulldog.
Yep.
Maddie. She started it all.
We bred French bulldogs. Yeah. So really, I was still doing door to door. That was our main business. We got into solar with Solar City. And it was really like, how do we grow this? Because it's all based on me being able to go on the doors, is 100% commission based, building a team. But everything was reliant on me and my time, my guys, and those guys sticking around, being able to build together. And so how do we bring you into it? My idea was just like, oh, she could do secretary work. Oh, she could do this. And you're just kind of like, no, I'm not feeling it. Not for a bad way. I think it just was wrong.
Well, also, at the time too, we had the mindset where we were like, I won't get a job, so we are free to go and do what we want to do when we want to do it, because you were all based off of your schedule. So it's commission based. You were on your own schedule. And then I was kind of like, well, I don't really want to get a job because
we're planning on having kids.
Yeah, we'd rather travel now before we're tied down with kids.
I said I didn't want you to be tied down with an hourly job that we didn't need the money, we needed time. And so you being tied down in exchange for money wasn't the right tie down. It was just like, no, we want time as our currency. And
but then I didn't want to keep furthering my education, because then I was like, I'm going to have kids soon. So what's the point?
Yeah. So it's this weird lull that, I don't know if this might be a different podcast. Like, I thought I was giving her the greatest gift. It was like, hey, stay home. I got this. I'll take care of the finances. And you live this free dream of a life. You start charity. You do whatever you want. You don't have to worry about having a boss, showing up on time, clocking in, clocking out. And I thought that would be like literally the greatest gift I could give my wife. And I was naive about it. Then I didn't realize thinking that you give somebody all the freedom, sometimes it actually you're paralyzed by the freedom almost, right? Or how'd you feel?
Yeah. I mean, I still have my own choice to go do what I wanted. If I really wanted to get a job, it would have happened. But I think it was hard to know what to do next. But then at the same time, even if I went and did just any kind of job, I'm still stuck in that 9 to 5 of what's the purpose. So I don't know if it was so much also just not, or being stuck. It was just trying to figure out what is this new chapter in life and how to do it together. So it wasn't your fault. It's not like you had chained me to the house.
Leave that in the comments.
You never said I couldn't. It was just like, hey, let's do this so we can have freedom. And we did travel when we wanted and did random fun stuff.
Yeah.
So
what I mean by it is like, then what's finding your purpose? And I think that's what it is. When you get a new chapter, trying to figure out, well, what is my purpose in this new chapter? What is my part in this is huge to take that time to figure out, where I was like, okay, you do whatever you want. Peace out. I got to go to work. And our work was really different. Yeah. We were able to hang out late at night because I didn't have to go to work till, 10 or 11, but I also didn't come home till like 9 or 10. And so, anyway, what we wanted wasn't fitting what our current situation was. Yeah. We had to figure out how to get out without just getting out, right? Because you still got to pay the bills. So we just started praying about it. We just started talking about it. I think what we do really well at is like putting it out there, to God, to the universe, to pray about it. And we constantly, like the law of attraction, really, we talk about it. We say, hey, we're going to get to this. We're going to be able to do something together. And while I was in a sale with a customer, ended up being the last door I knocked on, hadn't got a sale all day, was discouraged as heck. And last customer I'm getting in and I'm getting that sale and I'm like, feels great because it's probably like 8 o'clock at night, but in California at that time, summer, it was still, light out. And dogs, one thing I told Katie when we first dated was, hey, look, I'm not an animal guy. I didn't grow up with pets. So if a pet is one of the things you want, I don't want to be tied down to anything. Let's cut this here now. And that's how bad, I was like, no pets, no tie down.
Sounds a little harsh there.
Well, yeah. I mean, when I went knocking, in different people's homes, I saw how pets kind of ran the house and a lot of times. Yeah. And, it smelled, there's hair, there's just different things. And it wasn't my jam. Well, anyway.
Now what's your jam?
Oh, I love my Maddie. Well, now I'm in this home and they're like, yeah, we breed French bulldogs. Yeah, this dog, Maddie, she's actually great genetically and blah, 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 blah. And you guys should do it and blah, blah, blah. And I had friends who were actually really high in the dog breeding game. Yeah.
I mean, but then it got to the point too that it was like we wanted a dog. So it wasn't just for pure breeding. It was like we want a dog, take care of it. Because sometimes you also hear about nasty breeders out there and they just don't care about the dog. But this was something I'm like, no, I want to take care of these babies and this dog and do it the right way.
It was also a French bulldog. It was very high end. Uh-huh. And we wouldn't be able to afford her anyway. Maddie, come here. Come here, Maddie.
Literally talking about her. She walks in.
This is not set up. Oh, wow. Maddie, look how cute she is.
It's Maddie.
This is our baby. She's been with us 10 years.
Yeah.
Maddie, say hi. Oh, the most loving dog. And so it just happened, and all of a sudden something started clicking. These people were the right people. They knew their industry so well, and they're like, no, we'll mentor you guys. And it was a husband and wife, Dan and Sandy Shane.
Yes.
And it just was the right thing that kind of clicked and felt right about it. It was the same thing that happened with solar. Yeah. Same thing that happened with Crumble. Same thing that happened with all our businesses is I think it starts with, what is it that I want? What is it that we're good at? And does this thing that we want fit what our principles are? So our desire was we wanted to work together, wanted to do something that brought us closer together within business.
Yes.
And we wanted to be able to have a purpose with it, right?
You had to think about that one.
Well, you know.
I
And
know.
so it satisfied those things for us. And I think we've kept those throughout all the other businesses that we've done. We've always looked at things in that way where it just
I think it's huge to also have an like open perspective to anything and being patient in that. I think we're also very patient.
yeah. I try not to force it. Even though when it comes to the door-to-door side, you try to push and prod sometimes when it comes to sales.
Mm-hmm.
But with this, we realize with a lot of these businesses, they just kind of come your way and they happen. Girls, please, sweethearts.
Pause.
So just hang on out here.
Vienna, grab it and go, babe, okay? Love you.
Hey, you into it or no?
Yeah.
You don't seem into it. Well, we're done.
Boom. Yeah, well, I mean, we can get to something else. I mean, you know.
Then you do it. So we cut it at that point.
Okay, cut.
We're back. So then we did the business together and learned a ton.
Yeah.
And had 8 puppies with the brand new 4-month-old baby, which was our first child. But wait, no, we had 8-month-old puppies with a brand newborn baby. And that week that we
didn't have 8-month-old puppies.
8-week-old puppies.
I think they were 4 weeks. They were like itty bitty.
Did we still have them while she was born? I thought that week transitioned.
Oh no, you're right. They were 8.
Yeah,
because we had them for 2 weeks.
Yeah, because we had to go place them to their forever homes.
Yes.
And
talk about resentment in marriage. Well, it wasn't your fault, but the whole thing was terrible. The timing was bad.
But I was grateful for it. It was a time where we really needed it, actually. And we're in a transition phase, and actually having that business and learning about genetics, learning about breeding, learning about being able to do it the right way, being able to take care of the puppy. And we were breeding 2 other breeders. We learned a ton, and it allowed us to test out the waters, see if we even liked working with each other. You can love somebody, but not like working with them.
But not like working. And we've had our moments of not like working too.
Have.
Currently.
No. I mean, it's ongoing. It's natural, especially with us. Like, really, we're pretty opposite.
That's anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think what it does is like test out what you like and test out if you even like working with your spouse. You might not like it, and it might not be your jam, and it's totally fine.
Okay, so after we had the dogs, then after that you went to solar. We started selling solar.
Yep.
And you wanted me to be a secretary, which I was not down for. I'm still not down for that secretary. And then Solar City dissolved, pretty much the sales department. And then you started your own solar.
Yep. So
we're in Bakersfield.
Yeah, so we found that there was a need. Timelines were taking too long. There was a lot more work that needed to be done to get the solar jobs on the roof.
Yeah.
And we thought that the guys could get paid more and that we could do it better. And so we found this little niche that we could still be flexible because rules were changing a lot. And so we satisfied that niche for a few years.
Yeah.
About 4 years. And we're still, so, I mean, that into our marriage, we were, by that point, so what are we, 11? So we were 7 years deep into our marriage. That idea that her dad implanted in my head of us doing things together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like a next day thing.
Yeah.
Like we've been ongoing. So we had the French Bulldogs. We bred for about 3 years, and then the industry changed a lot and we weren't okay with that. And so that then broke our own personal boundaries. And so we got out of it. And then we still kind of on the side would then, you know, each time we bought a house, we worked together to reconstruct it and do the remodeling. And we worked on that together. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of different things that got us to work together outside of just raising a family that allowed us to see how we worked, practice together, work out some of those kinks that, who's strong at what, who's going to be in charge of what. So I think that then when it led us to, when Crumble came our way, we'd already were actively looking at like, okay, so Katie, are you going to join the solar business because it's growing? Or, we had 3 kids by that point, or are you just really staying at home?
Well, I think a lot of where I've come into, I don't like, even when my dad implanted that, okay, we never necessarily like all the time had to talk about, hey, this is what we want to do together. Because then we started having kids, and then, one thing after another, we were just like in survival mode, literally. And then
Had to come home late.
Things would come our way. And then I think through when they would come our way from like the French Bulldogs to then not starting solar, you really, had the reins with that. But I was like on board with it. A lot of it was about like how I would feel about the certain things and like intuitively if it felt right or didn't feel right. And that was how we really got into Crumble is,
Which we identified that early on in our marriage. I think identifying your strengths with your partner, business or marriage, is crucial because then you could separate things. Like we've learned early on that you have a more intuitive strength and that you're really good at your intuition. And I'm like, not. I'm like, I got to read it almost like a math problem.
Well, you're really smart and logical. So I'm like, yeah, let's go do this, babe. And you're like the bulldog that goes, arr, and you like go off running doing it.
But I had to trust it because at first, honestly, it was kind of annoying. Like, what do you mean you're saying you feel something?
Just call me annoying.
Well, no, I'm saying like here I'm doing certain research or looking up things and thinking that you would need to do that because that was just the way that I processed.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, no, this feels right. And with that, you would actually be correct. But I felt and kind of projected on you, well, no, I took all this time to come to that conclusion.
Right.
Or you didn't take in consideration this part. How are you just willy-nilly making a decision? But it wasn't. Yeah. It was that we figured out, no, that's actually a superpower, not just a laziness. And as a partner, I would think, oh, that was just not wanting to put in the time or effort, which is being judgmental. But the beauty is once we're able to identify that, and like I said, we identified it really early on into our marriage.
You trusted it.
During dating, I didn't trust it, but in marriage, I was like, yep, I trusted it.
Well, there'd be plenty of guys now that would still, like, I could be correct on it many times, and there'd be still people that wouldn't acknowledge it or, so that's a lot on you too.
Thanks. No, but it really is trying to identify what is your spouse or your partner's strengths and let them lean into that. Let them take that portion of whatever it is that their strength is, and you just allow them to live in that freely because they're good at it.
Yeah.
And then you go live in whatever strength you have, which if mine is logical or analytical, then I can bring that to the table. And what I love is that you've allowed us to be on those separate sides of the fences without having to then snoop over and cross over and be like, well, what are you doing? Or believe that, her intuition is more powerful, so she's in charge. It really is about not what is better than the other, but that people are able to live in their strength. Yeah. And I think if you allow that to flourish in your relationship, then you could utilize it versus trying to keep peeking over, what the other person's doing.
It's true. It's very true.
So when Crumble came our way, it was something that just aligned with what we'd already decided. So predetermine what are your core values, then determine what are your principles in order that come after that. For us, it's God, then each other. Well,
kids,
self, actually. God, self, you got to take care of yourself. But God, self-love, our spouse, our children, our work, our church. And so as you determine or make decisions, they're based from that lens and that priority. And so Crumble then fit into the purpose that we have. Bring joy to the community, work together.
And it may not always, because when Crumble came our way too, I was not in no way we had 2 little kids. I was pregnant with a third, and it was no way like, oh yeah, let's add another business. I was like, I already don't get enough of you at home. I need more help, but it was that pull that I felt, and it wouldn't get off my mind. And it just kept coming up, and we kept talking about it. And I was like, you need to reach out to them. And this is something that we have to do.
Yeah. And at that point, that's when I knew when it was serious. Because for me, I'd already kind of got back to like, hey, look, we got a solar business that's thriving. Like all this money that we're going to have to put into it, what if we just put that into what we know, which is our current business?
Yeah.
It would thrive and do so much better. Like I was already done with it. So I was like, no, it's cool. Like we'll just stick with solar. But you really...
Because it was doing really well too at the time.
Yeah. You really felt the pull. And again, when she brought it...
You trusted me.
I did. I did. Hopefully it's working out. But no, when you looked at me and you're like, no, we got to do it. And I need you to fly out to Utah and make this happen. I was like, all right.
I know. Cry.
So on the next episode,
so stay tuned.
Find out how we got rejected and denied and denied and denied and rejected and denied and rejected so many times by Crumble, by landlords, literally by almost anybody. That in and of itself will be its own podcast.
No, we opened during the pandemic. If you want to talk about rejection, we opened during the pandemic.
The world was shut down.
A bakery that you're not supposed to come in contact with people, but we had lines out our door on opening day. So stay tuned for the full Crumble Cookies story.
Hey, thanks for joining us. If you liked it, subscribe for more of this kind of content. Smash all the different things that all the kids tell you to do. And if not, hey, just take it, share it, have fun with it. Hopefully you're entertained, and we'll see you in the next one.